He comes, the lyre singing in his hands, and all the gods on Olympus rise in awe and reverent fear. Homeric hymn to Apollo. Apollo's story begins not in triumph, but in rejection. His mother, Leto, carried divine life through a world ruled by fear. Hera's jealousy poisoned every land before her. Mountains denied shelter. Cities closed their gates. Rivers turned silent, unwilling to witness what was forbidden. Leto wandered endlessly, not pursued by armies but by denial itself. The world did not dare to accept her. To do so meant inviting divine punishment. At last, she reached Delos, a floating island with no roots, no loyalty, no future. It was unstable, barren, and forgotten. And precisely because it belonged nowhere, it was free to offer refuge. There, under an unforgiving sky, Apollo was born. No storm marked his arrival. No thunder announced him. Instead, something subtler occurred. Light became deliberate. Shadows withdrew, not in fear, but in obedience. The world did not change. It aligned. Apollo's birth was not an eruption of power, but the emergence of meaning. From the beginning, he was different. Other gods arrived as forces. Apollo arrived as a principle. Apollo did not experience childhood as mortals do. There was no ignorance to protect, no innocence to preserve. Awareness came first. Within days, his body matured. Within moments, his mind awakened fully. He perceived balance instinctively, not as morality, but as structure. He observed the aftermath of the Titanomachy, a world still scarred, where ancient horrors lingered in forgotten places and chaos survived where order had not yet reached. Apollo did not respond with fear or rage. He responded with assessment. The bow came into his hands not as a weapon of anger, but as a tool of precision. The lyre followed, not for pleasure, but for harmony. These two instruments defined him. One corrected what threatened balance. The other shaped what needed refinement. Apollo did not seek dominion. He sought coherence. Before Apollo, prophecy existed, but it belonged to terror. At Delphi, the serpent python ruled knowledge through fear. The future was known, but only through poison and intimidation. This was not wisdom, it was dominance. Apollo confronted Python not as a challenger seeking glory, but as an inevitable correction. His arrows carried more than force, they carried transition. With each strike, an era ended. When Python fell, the earth itself released a long-held breath. Apollo did not celebrate. He purified the land. From Delphi arose a new center of prophecy, one governed by interpretation, reflection, and responsibility. Knowledge would no longer enslave, it would guide. This was Apollo's first great act, the replacement of primordial terror with rational order. Apollo's influence extended beyond destruction. He understood that chaos did not vanish through elimination alone. It required structure. He gathered the muses and imposed discipline upon inspiration. Under Apollo, music learned harmony, poetry learned proportion. Art ceased to be excess and became communication. Emotion was not suppressed, it was shaped. Apollo believed that beauty without measure leads to madness, and creativity without form dissolves into noise. He became the unseen architect of culture. Every melody that calms rather than incites, every verse that elevates rather than overwhelms, carries his signature. In this way, Apollo civilized not only gods, but humanity itself. Despite his clarity, Apollo was not untouched by desire. His radiance attracted devotion, but rarely fulfillment. Mortals he loved faded with time. Nymphs fled or transformed, unable to endure divine intensity. Each loss carved restraint into him. Apollo learned that light, when imposed, becomes fire. He did not grow cruel. He grew distant. Through love, Apollo learned his most painful lesson. Even perfection cannot be possessed. From that moment, he chose governance over attachment, observation over pursuit. His restraint was not coldness, it was wisdom shaped by loss. Apollo governed life at its most fragile edge. His arrows could bring plague, yet his knowledge revealed healing. This duality was not contradiction, it was balance. Through Asclepius, medicine emerged as sacred science. Healing became understanding, not desperation. Suffering was not always punishment. Often it was imbalance demanding correction. Apollo taught that mortality was not failure, it was structure. Life and death were not enemies. They were stages governed by order. Apollo never dictated fate. His oracles revealed paths, not conclusions. Their riddles were not deception, they were discipline. Truth under Apollo required patience and humility. Those who misunderstood prophecy blamed the god, but the fault lay in their haste. The future was not fixed. It was shaped by choice. Apollo governed destiny as a guide, not a tyrant. Over time, Apollo became inseparable from the sun, not merely as its bearer, but as its meaning. The sun reveals without judgment. It illuminates without distortion. Apollo embodies clarity, balance, healing, art, and foresight. He is not the brightest flame, but the steadiest. Where chaos seeks dominance, Apollo offers structure. Where fear demands control, Apollo offers understanding. As long as humanity seeks reason over instinct, harmony over excess, and truth over terror, Apollo endures. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share your impressions of the video.